Colin, what's going on here? What's happening?
Official base of his iPhone, there you go.
Yeah.
No, here we are. This is the Aquarius Hotel, Laughlin. This is after conference, and yeah, we've had a good time. It's been a short event compared to the extravaganza that was the International UFO Conference. 2.5 days, but certainly had a high, good quality speakers.
Good.
Grant Cameron.
Yes.
Had George Norrie, helping out, doing his bit. Who else we had? We had Regina Meredith, who was very good.
Yeah, I hope to have her at the conference.
Yeah, Aaron Jenkins. He was talking about Noah's Ark, which was cool. Chase Cloetz. She was talking about the Peruvian skull.
Yeah.
Andrea Perron. That was interesting because the film The Conjuring, which I didn't know about, but this is like a major sort of horror film, was actually based on her story that was she turned into books just not that a few years ago actually. I think it was called House of Darkness, House of Light. Yeah, The Conjuring film, which made a lot of money. It came out I think maybe a year or two ago, and in fact a prequel's just come out. But the original one was much better, which was called The Conjuring, and it was based on the lady Andrea Perron, who was an experiencer, and she wrote 3 books. I think House of Darkness, House of Light you can get that. It's, I think they embellished it a bit for the film, but there's some sort of bizarre goings on at I think it was where she was living, she's brought it out into a book I think a few years ago, so definitely worth looking into that, because I didn't even know that the film was actually based on the book, so it just goes to show you a lot of...
What was the film again?
The film was called The Conjuring, and it was almost like these two ghost type investigators looking into paranormal happenings, and touches on a doll and stuff like that, and I'm not quite sure how much it ties in, because I haven't read the book, but it's a bit like all this sort of poltergeist type activity and things like that, so just maybe have a little look at the book, see what you think of it all, and
good.
That's my friend. Yeah, thank you. I'll look after it. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Thank you. Cheers. So, so she was very good, and that was followed up by Claire Ann Hartley, who was talking about consciousness and interdimensional communications. Very good again. We had the cocktail party, which she had to wear purple and stuff. We did manage to get some purple stuff.
And I managed to have a purple shirt,
yeah.
So did you.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was... then we had the film The Stranger at the Pentagon, which we should mention, because that was based on the... George Van Tassel and the Giant...
It wasn't a film, it was really a promo.
It was what's his name? Valiant 4, I think. Yeah, Valiant 4, which was the Pentagon. The guy who visited the Pentagon. Basically, UFO landed, and he was taken in, and it was only like a little trailer film for hopefully a larger project, but it was very well done.
Yeah, they need 25 million. They need 25 million pounds.
Okay, yeah. And it was 20 minutes long or so, but it was very well done, and it was very professionally done, and it's won some awards already at some film festival, but it was, it's just great to see, and the costumes and everything, and the sort of Illuminati was touched on in the Pentagon, But of course, they're very, at the time, I would imagine still now, they're very paranoid, and they were wanting to use the technology and threatening Valiant 4. And apparently, in Valiant 4, he didn't have any fingerprints. So it's a shame no one ever took a photo of his hand. That would have been quite intriguing evidence. But maybe, I don't know. But certainly, a lot of people met him, and some of the people at the conference actually met him. I think one of the ladies said she met him. Quite young, obviously. A lot of the people have died now, sadly, so they're no longer around. It's like we're talking about the 50s, so we're talking about something that...
Hello. excuse me, but I think the lady concerned has just turned up.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, my sweetheart. Would you like to talk about your beautiful film?
Oh, sure.
We're just talking about your film right now,
Are you?
and we're on tape and we're recording.
Oh, wonderful.
Do you want to just sit down with my friend Colin, who's done a review of this, and discuss this right now? This is live TV, and we're talking about your film and what happened there. And could you say who you are and what the whole thing's about and things?
I'm Andrea Perron.
Yes, you've just been introduced by Go.
About, we're talking about the country and how that film was based on the book. It wasn't based.
It wasn't based on the books at all.
So that was just artistic license.
I gave them a lot of information. Mrs. Warren gave them her case files. And the film was actually based on the case files of Ed Lorraine Warren. But I did provide them with a great deal of information. And what they did when they realized how intense this story really was, they didn't think that it was literally beyond belief, and they couldn't say that it was based on a true story if the truth was literally beyond belief. So what they did was they cherry-picked information, and the writers, Chad and Carrie Hayes, created their own third story for all intents and purposes. So there was no exorcism in our house. My mother was not possessed. My mother would never have done anything to hurt any of the children.
What is the story in a nutshell before you start talking about all the bits which weren't quite correct?
The story in a nutshell is that everything had to happen precisely the way that it did for us to move to the farm. And when we did, all bets were off. We were called there. And for the 10 years that we lived in this virtually timeless environment that I often describe as a portal cleverly disguised as a farmhouse, we learned really some of the mysteries and the secrets that are removed from the mere mortals. The people that just can't even wrap their minds around this story. But what happened was we began seeing apparitions and spirits in the house immediately. And my sister Cindy was approached with spirits all around her bed, and they would say to her all in one voice in tandem, "There are 7 dead soldiers buried in the wall. There are 7 dead soldiers buried in the wall." That is really where it began. And my mother started being approached by a female spirit who perceived herself to be mistress of the house. And she was telling my mother that she had to leave, but that my father and that the 5 children that she coveted had to stay in the house. And of course my mother refused to do that and began to try to process what was happening to her. She wasn't sharing that with her 5 children, obviously. We were not telling her what was happening to us. About 6 months into our tenure, my sisters were coming to me with so many different experiences that I felt that it was necessary for me to tell my mother what was happening. We lived in the house for 3.5 years before the Warrens ever came into the picture. They only visited 5 or 6 times over the course of a 1.5 years, and then in a seance that was foisted upon my parents that went horribly, horribly wrong. Something that was not of this world came into my mother at the table. I saw it happen. I was not supposed to be watching, but I saw it. My sister Cindy saw it. Christine was overhead. Nancy was the only one that was not in the house that night. And April saw it too, the youngest of us. And my mother literally curled up into a ball, started speaking in a language that was not of this earth, and was in excruciating pain. Her chair levitated off the floor, and in literally less than a fraction of a second, she was tossed from the dining room where this occurred into our parlor, and I thought I saw my mother die. And that was the most horrifying experience of my entire life. I don't know how they could even recreate that in film. So consequently, Bathsheba Sherman ended up copping all the blame, but it wasn't even her. And I'm not saying that she was a very extremely pleasant spirit. She had a very, very hard life. And I understand, and when we die, if we remain earthbound, we keep all of our characteristics, and so you know she was relatively miserable, but she is not the one that attacked my mother. And you know, we don't know for certain, nor will we in this realm ever know for certain exactly who she was, though we suspect that it was Mrs. John Arnold, who hanged herself in the barn when she was 93 years old, and that happened well before Bathsheba was ever in the picture. And when she came to my mother with all the spirits in the house around her, all in her bed at the same time, right around her bed. My father was there too, but he was in a state of suspended animation. My mother literally ran her hands up into his hair and twisted and started yanking his head to try to wake him up, and she thought that he was dead and she was next. And when they appeared as a group, they came with torches that she thought we were going to burn to death. They tormented her with fire. And that's always a mother's greatest fear. The spirit uttered an incantation that began, "'Twas mistress once afore ye came, and mistress here will be anon. Will drive ye out with fiery broom, will drive ye mad with death and gloom." I've got the entire incantation written in the books. But the books are a separate and distinct entity. The movie was made as a horror film. But what we experienced, the books are called House of Darkness, House of Light, because they were both. It was both elements, the duality of humanity existed in that house. We had many wonderful experiences in that house. And we also had some very tormenting experiences in that house. But what we learned from that is that we are connected, and that there was some type of familial connection between us and these spirits. And what was so profound about that was that when we all came to terms with it and we made peace with them and acknowledged them, accepted them, and embraced the fear, our mortal fear,
Who
it
is them?
dissipated the spirits that are in the house.
Do you have any information about those spirits?
My mother did a lot of historical research on the house because she said if they're here, they're somehow connected to the property, that they're not just passing through. And so she identified what we believe were some of them that remained behind, including Mrs. John Arnold, Johnny Arnold, Susan Arnold, Bathsheba Sherman. There were several children that became like playmates with us. As we accepted them, they posed no threat to us, and they would rearrange our toys, and you know, we would often just back off and let them have their playtime with our things because our things were so new to them. My sister April developed a very close kinship with a little boy named Oliver Richardson, who was apparently part of the original Richardson family that built the homestead sometime between 1680 and when it was completed in 1736.
When did these incidents happen? When did the actual phenomena occur at the house?
All the time.
And what year are we talking?
From 1970 to 1980.
Oh, okay. And what part of the States were we in?
In Harrisville, Rhode Island.
Right.
It was a remarkable place.
And what's happened to that building now?
It's still there.
It's still...
An elderly couple live there now, and someday that house will come up for sale again. And when it does, I am going to buy it, and I am going to open it to all paranormal researchers around the world, because I do believe that that one piece of absolutely irrefutable evidence will come from that house. And I don't think that it's fair to keep it relegated and in private hands. I really feel that it's important that it be shared with everyone. I want everyone to be able to walk in there and to feel the energy of that place. It is truly a remarkable, incredible experience, and every time I've ever been back to the house since we moved, things happen right away. As soon as I walk in, I am recognized. When my sisters Nancy and Cindy went back in 1996, and they were touched, and their hair was touched, and the spirit that was protecting them put them in the bubble, what we've always called as kids being put in the bubble, and she said to them, "Oh my God, it's you, you're back." You know, so even as older women versus being children when they left, they were recognized instantly and embraced instantly.
You're coming home. Yeah.
It is. The books are really essentially a love story with a supernatural twist. Nothing like the movie at all.
No. And how many books are there?
3.
There's 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any more planned, or is that it now?
My readers won't let me stop.
Oh, okay.
They want to know everything that happened while I was writing the books, which was substantial. It was, in fact, at one point, when it was time for me and I knew it was time to tell this story, the world was ready for this, I left. I was the only one left living in Rhode Island. Everybody else was living in the South. And I packed up all my stuff and I moved in with my mother and my sister Christine in their little farm, and which is where I still am right now, for a little while longer before I move. But my sister, one day, she put me up against a wall and she said, "My house was not haunted until you moved into it." And I was like, "I'm sorry, honey, profound attachments, there's nothing I can do about it. They follow me like puppies. You know, there's nothing I can do." And my sister, Cindy, is the same way. Cindy virtually died and came back when she was 2 months old, having a birth defect repaired. And she came back a very old, wise soul, and she's completely surrounded as well. Christine wants nothing to do with it. She wants nothing to do with the extraterrestrial stuff, the phenomenon that's happening around me. She just would really like all of it to go away. And it's not that she wants me to go away, but she wants everything that's happening around me to stop. And because we are, the attachments are permanent, there's nothing I can do about that. So,
can you tell us about the ET phenomena then, your experience, and how that's related to it all? Or is that something?
It would take you hours and hours of film footage for me to tell you what's been happening, but I will tell you that in the last few weeks I have had my first incident of lost time, and I know that occurred so that I would be prepared to come to the Starworks Symposium to share what I did in my presentation. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it's wonderful, and I welcome it and I embrace it.
In brief, what did you say in your Star Points presentation?
That consciousness
for
is
the
all
Basis
that there
Project,
is.
and for people who haven't seen you before.
It really is about consciousness and our awareness of our environment. It's about being connected. We're all immortal souls. We're just having a human experience right now. We're learning our lessons. Hopefully we're learning them well. But I don't feel that I'm really of this earth, and I have asked myself my entire life, why am I here? What is my mission? What is the purpose of this? But I think that I got the beginning of that answer when I was 17, and I'm 56 now. It's taken a while to process all of this. But when I was 17, I came home from college miserable that I was away from my family, away from the spirits, away from the farm, away from home, which is, that farm is the only place that I've ever felt at home on this entire planet. So I came home for a break over my birthday weekend. My birthday's on October 10th, and so it always falls on the Columbus Day holiday, and I couldn't get warm. And you know, anybody who's ever been touched by spirit knows there's a really big difference between cold and supernatural cold. You know, the natural, the temperature's dropping, and then supernatural cold. And when I walked in the house, I just was hit with it. And my family was having dinner. I'd eaten on the plane, so I backed myself up in front of the fireplace, and there was a roaring fire going. It was beautiful. I had on a pair of brown, thick corduroys, and my last conscious thought before this event occurred was, I'm standing too close to the fire. Why am I not warm? And then to my right side, an apparition manifested, and my whole family saw her, but nobody saw her face because she was facing me. And I wasn't able to move my body, but I was able to turn my head, and what I looked at was a woman who was me from the 1700s. An identical mirror image reflection of myself, and in that moment I knew why we had been called to the farm, and it was for me to fulfill my destiny. But I carried a great burden of guilt for years about that, and I did not tell my family for a long time that I recognized myself in this apparition, because it not only confirmed what I suspected about being recycled souls and coming back again and again. I didn't want anybody else in the family to feel that they would have to do the same thing. So I didn't share it until I actually wrote the books, and then I put it all in there because it's important for people to know that how we comport ourselves in this life really matters. And if we want to ascend, if we want to reunite with spirit rather than being relegated to this earth for infinity, then we need to make sure that how we manage this life and with kindness and purity of heart, how we approach each other and love each other well really matters. And so that's my mission in life now, is to help others, to be a guide to others, to help them to make that spiritual ascension into purity, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, where do we get the books? Where do we get the books and the website?
Anywhere. Amazon.
What are they? Give us straight
House
titles.
of Darkness, House of Light, volumes 1, 2, and 3. They're all available. You can get them through Amazon, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada. They're available all over the world. They can be purchased directly from my publisher, authorhouse.com. Barnes & Noble carries them. All major booksellers around the world carry them.
Good. Well, thank you for this brief thing.
You're very welcome.
On the basis update in the Aquarius Resort after the Starworks Nostalgia Consciousness UFO conference.
Yes, it was a wonderful conference, and Paula Harris
and you were one of the speakers.
And I was one of the speakers. And also people can order right off of the StarworksUSA website. They can order my presentation or the presentation of anyone who was at this event.
And finally, can you just say who you are?
Yes.
Precisely. We crashed in on this a little bit.
That's okay. I'm Andrea Perron. Yes, I know. I am Andrea Perron. I am the eldest daughter of the 5 of the Perron family, and our story loosely was made into the film The Conjuring.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're very
We're
welcome.
welcome to see you at a later time.
Yes, absolutely.
Because this is a fast blast update from the Aquarius for the Basis Project, which is that. And you've been being co-interviewed with
Colin Laughlin, one of the out on the basis investigations.
Yeah, okay, speak up, Colin.
Yeah, I'm supporter of the Basis Project, basically, and following Miles' work for a long, long time. So, yeah, we like to come out here and find out what's the latest, what's going on, and as I say, it's all about consciousness and things like that.
Well, you know, people in the UK have got it all over us in the United States.
You reckon?
I mean, oh, absolutely. I mean, the acknowledgement and the awareness.
You've been to
in the UK?
Yeah?
No, not yet.
Oh.
I'm going next year.
It'd be interesting to see if you attract any phenomena when you're out.
I will.
Because I'm sure
I'm
with
a
all
magnet.
the history of England and everything,
Yeah.
well, Scotland and Ireland and everything as well, but there's a few ghosts around there, I can tell you.
Absolutely. And that's why the awareness is so much more heightened in the UK.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Props there.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
And goodbye. Well, the batteries run out. Thank you. Blustery day for the Basis Project.
Oh, you're joking.
It's a setting sun.
It's cold, actually.
It's cold, yeah.
So
And
here
we're using the special new sound effect anti-wind mic thing, which survived Wiltshire. We'll see if that works. Well, Colin, we've had what sort of an event happening here?
We had a very interesting event. It was a return to Laughlin after the absence of about 4 years, I think it was, since the UFO conference. But this one was called Starworks, and it was Paula Harris, little baby, and I guess Bob Brown, who did the original UFO Congress, he was roped in and he helped out, and it was a much shorter event than Laughlin used to be. It was just like it was barely 2.5 days really, because you had Saturday, Sunday.
With Friday to Saturday and only half Sunday.
And we finished quite about 1-2 o'clock on a Sunday. So
a lot of stuff about giant rock.
Yeah, I think a lot of people wouldn't be familiar with what giant rock is, and even the video they showed, like the interview with what's his name,
one of the early stuff. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was inside a craft with humans in it, with a good suntan, looking healthy.
George Van Tassel was one of the contact, and Howard Lengel, is it, or something? That's his name. But that's where it all began, I guess, for the contact T movement and stuff. So,
and that's near Joshua Tree and...
Yeah, and apparently you too. I mean, the lady next to me, she said that's where they actually did the Joshua Tree, actually in that building. I didn't even know that, to be honest.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So actually where they made the album was in that, well, it was like a little sort of, I don't know if it was like an observatory. There's like, oh, there's like a round building. Was that George Van? I don't know.
The thing about it is it's made of natural woods with no artificial nasty stuff in it.
Yeah. And the other thing is that this rock, I mean, I
giant rock is big.
It's something split. I mean, I didn't really understand.
I think Lorian was explaining that. Well, maybe we could go upriver or downriver.
Well, any way the wind blows, eh?
Yeah. It only blows this wind only 20 years in a year. 20 years in a
this is when you need
every 20 days for 20 days in the year. And we are standing in Nevada, and over there is, I think, is it Colorado? Bloody hell, Arizona it's called. Well, this is Miles, the Basis Project in the United States. Again, luckily, as it seems. I'm, of course, virtually in silhouette for this shot, but we've got a lovely hotel that we're staying in, the Aquarius, and that is where the UFO Congress was here for quite some time. And we've come back to Laughlin to see a new little conference run by Paola Harris, and it's been a very close conference, quite well attended. I'd say 200 plus, about half the usual, or about maybe a third the usual of the Congress itself. We've had a nice couple of days. Since they've finished quite early on the Sunday, we're going to take a cruise up the river to see the London Bridge just up there. But alas, there's no traffic today because it's so windy. So if I say so again, shoot me. The Basis Project Film Festival, which you still can't see in this shot. We've had some talks with some people here, and we do hope to have them available for the spring of 2015, where the second International Basis Project Conference will be held at a location yet to be discovered, let alone announced. The main thing is that here, with the best will in the world, when they have long films, sitting on uncomfortable seats for a long film is not doing the film justice. So what I want to do is I want to have a location where you can sit and watch a film, really enjoy it, and then have some nice awards and give some good credit to people who win those awards. If you put a film into the film festival, which you probably can't see in this shot, you can have this award seeker t-shirt. Yeah, I think it's totally black. Anyway, it's very windy here, and we don't want the camera to blow over, so we're just going to take some more shots and continue this Basis update from the Aquarius Resort Hotel, Casino Resort Hotel in Laughlin, Southern Nevada. And hopefully I'll be on a plane to Brussels soon for the targeted individual conference, where we'll continue this update from the Basis Project abroad. But pending the relevant seating in the relevant aircraft, we'll have to see if that happens. This is the Basis Project abroad in the United States at Laughlin, with the Aquarius Hotel Resort behind us and a fine blowing wind giving a good showing of the United States flag. So here we are as the sun sets in Laughlin, and we'll continue our report immediately. Welcome to Brussels, to Belgium, and the Covert Harassment Conference, CHC Brussels 2015. 14, and they've got an excellent presentation here. We're just shooting at the closing statements of the conference. It's been going on all day, and essentially we've had Magnus Olsson, who opened, Global Mind Control and Artificial Intelligence, then Peter Mooring, Surviving the Mind Prison, Organized Stalking and Electronic Harassment, and then with Mojami Babasek, which is probably not the correct way of pronouncing it, The Ways to Defeat the Secrecy Surrounding the Existence of Mind Control Technology, a relationship analysis with William Biney, and some victim testimonials. And maybe we'll have a couple who will talk here. We've got some people off to the right here. We're not showing anybody who's been at this conference unless they expressly wish to be on camera. Scalar waves and use of mind control by Dr. Henning Witt, who invented, from I think Sweden. And then we have John Ullman, who gave his story, and Alfred Weber from the United States. Now he's not actually here, but I believe we're going to have a video presentation, or at least in the media pack here, on the conference pack, he'll be, his presentation is written down. Dr. Rowney Lena Lucanen Kilda, wonderful lady, great friend. She opened it really at about 10 o'clock. Essentially, this is a collection of extremely important people. It's been put together by some really wonderful people here in Brussels. As we quickly try to get through this, they have a formal press release, and hopefully we'll get them to talk later on. There's quite a few organizations who are represented here, and this is an example of how mind control is reaching a European level, trying to get this up to a much higher level of discussion. With thanks to Peter Mooring for putting this together, and a great team here in Brussels. This is Miles at the TI conference and Covert Harassment conference. That's to say, we have a conference during the day on the covert harassment, and then in the evening there will be a bit like the experiencers at UFO conferences. They'll be having a TI meetup.
My name is Sabita Branford McGuinness Gurney. I am a survivor of state abuse, social services.
In the United Kingdom?
In the United Kingdom. My parents were political prisoners after the Second World War because they fought for the enemies. My father went to India, signed up, and went to India to fight the fascists and wrote for India's independence. His cousin was a colonial officer.
Yes.
He ended up in Burma, was in a concentration camp, got back, and they had sold all his property, and he was homeless. He thought he was Ivor Gurney. So this is my father's Ivor Gurney. Have you been barcoded under the National Health System? A national health number at birth. They do decide should this infant live or die to make our scientific lies. Your date of birth tells it all, those hidden secrets, oh so tall. The economics of us all depends upon our rotten call onto the medical squall. We lay upon this evil clock. Yes, we have to face your bloody dock. Live or lie. Face the truth, and you will surely have to bide their time, to be a patient for their dreadful lies. Eventually the former is surely to die, for you know we as doctors hold your ancestors' human clock on our medical dock. Your life, our dock, British summertime's clock, for Earth's humanity is our parliamentary plot. See the time to Big Ben, adjust it not, for we will offend. A patient, they do decide, should live and lie to make their scientific beliefs high. It is most certain you as a person will live, yet to see another friend die. Tell the truth of what you see, what you truly believe. It is then certain that you will lie eventually beneath the awful surgeon's sooth. One ghastly winter morning in 1984, I was summoned to my brother's medical block, pinned to the Westminster's evil dock, locked within the hospital, next to that ancient building with the parliamentary clock, interned within the medical maze, the H block. I discovered my kid brother stranded and alone upon that bloody rock called an empire amidst the pharmaceutical wars. Numb and dazed, I fled to Greece to regain strength and inner peace. I've missed the middle. O Simon's date of birth, O that rotten curse he laid upon your economical purse. Still I return, scarred and alive, to prove the truth of your medical lies. Many times I returned to challenge my brother's death. Several times you rigged me to die. A public inquiry we do desire, no science we can hire to prove the very thing we victims do seek, secrets which you seek to keep. We need order, we need ultimate control, for the population must never know. We bid you well to see the hell of the living that we have rigged within our conclusive scientific well. We cannot allow humanity to grow beyond that what we cannot see within our reality of biology. For those patients who live to complain are often seen as neurotic and insane. We have created legal laws to ensure that the blame remains upon the heretic's head. You hide behind the science of psychiatry. We need order, we need ultimate control, for the population must never know. This is another one about Duncan Knight.
Very good.
Very good.
Well done.
Assassinated by Dunlop's Tweed, a refugee is what I'll be, neither working for the Crown nor the KGB. When the barrier went down for my night, that I should have seen the Gurney Bank of New England, the Institute of Surrey and Runnymede. I should have known the Vatican was going to be so mean, make me bleed upon my broken knees, an evil brother's cover, an illegitimate scene, a wicked uncle's deed, Roehampton estate and Rodine, a £5 note drawn upon that sickly Catholic deed, Vatican and the RUC, the horrid English moat of Roehampton, where time's seasons lie beyond the British seasons for the scientists to cope. A grand compromise of Surrey's reasons. Oh, such treason! A dead boy from Roehampton's moss. Just another sad family's loss. Just another Whitehall statistical gloss. My aching heart, another girlfriend's loss. A refugee is what I'll be, neither working for the dreaded Crown nor the KGB. Timor is my blessed deed.
Well done.
Yes.
Very well done.
Very well done. Can you describe the context of these poems?
My existence, yes. The existence of these poems was the medical establishment continue to use the sword of violation against my mind, body and soul. I will continue to resist their corruption of upholding the evil pharmaceutical giants who not only poisons individual but also the planet. Rebel and stand up for your rights.
Many brave people have come here to listen, learn, and also state their testimony. As with the Basis Project, people who have actually experienced these events are speaking in public, and we have a couple of them here in this report from Brussels. Okay.
I have been a target since my birth because of my political background. And because of my father died, his life was taken to actively prevent us getting to New Zealand. I have been a mental health service user for many years, and during this long and often fraught period have had the unfortunate experience of being a victim of crime on many occasions, ranging from identity theft, death warrants, domestic violence, muggings, pickpocketing, to have my savings scanned from my bank account, even date rape. So interviews with psychiatrists is date rape. You are not allowed to have a lawyer present when you are being interrogated by a psychiatrist. On most occasions I became so distressed and traumatized that I was detained under the Mental Health Act and given excess amounts of medication that actively prevented me making formal complaints or even addressing my legal issues. Not once have I received any assistance or support from any of the so-called mental health teams. It seems to me there is no relationship between the local police and the mental health service users. Indeed, if you are a mental health label and are a victim of crime, then it is highly unlikely that you will be actively deterred from accessing mainstream services such as victim support, Camden Safety Net, etc. Camden and Islington Mental Health Trust continues to refuse to answer my pressing question: what is the relationship between Camden and Islington Mental Health Trust and the local police? Several months ago, whilst travelling on a 29 bus, I experienced for the second time in a month my purse being stolen. As I believe I could identify the thief, I visited Kentish Town Police Station. The policewoman on the front desk, instead of taking my complaint seriously, demanded my phone number because, as she said, I'm going to have the social workers take you away because you are rambling. Whilst we live in a Big Brother society where our personal details, medical records for example, are accessible to public bodies like the police, then discrimination and persecution will continue towards those who happen to have a mental health label. Our losses are their gains. The more upset and disgruntled we feel towards a society that continues to discriminate, alienate and marginalise us victims of crime and service users, who I call the silent minority, the more the mental health service justify its heavy-handedness towards service users whose human rights are being slowly eroded away.
What is your name?
My name is Beatrice Elbez, and I come from the Jewish community, and I live in France, in Paris. I am here in the conference because I am victim of torture electronic and gang stalking institutional since 202, gang stalking institutional with collaboration of institution
The institution, yes.
Yeah, police, justice, university, social lodgement, and town hall. It goes very, very far. And I'm burned since 1 year. Deprivation of sleep since 11 years, since 22 and 2, and burned, coupled with burned by microwaves since 22 and 13, 1 year.
Yes.
So actually my case is very serious because there is complaints with who are going with civil party, because I have been interned the last year without nothing to justify my internment, and now there is an assignation with lawyer to contest my arbitrary internment. So because of all the complaints, and because in my case there are mail of support to me sent to Nicolas Sarkozy, yet in 22 and 6, by politics, in my support, by director, by secretary national to Sarkozy, my case become very horrible until my family, just at this date, my case began in 22 and 2, just after my politic mails in an international weekly, and my case become horrible when there were mails sent to Sarkozy by politic to ask to stop the harcèlement at lodgement, deprivation of sleep, and things like that. In my case, there is attestation of what I live, of the deprivation of sleep at lodgement. There are attestation about my good mental health by director, by people digna of respect, you know. So it gave a character very serious for the authority in my case, and the follow become horrible until my father makes spend as crazy at 22 and 6, and I was yet threatened of internment psychiatric by the police since 22 and 4. It means at 2 years of interval, the father and his daughter would have become crazy. It's not possible. We can understand this. The police, in the inside my complaints, the superintendent of police has write in 2211 that in 22:4 he has understood that Beatrice has seen that Beatrice Elbez has not all his mental faculties. It's completely crazy, not credible, because there are many attestations by director at this period, before, at this period, and after, to attest of my good health, to mail of support, after by politic to Sarkozy, support of me. So now they are like in a trap. They have no solution about me. So they have put me in a psychiatric hospital by force. The police, very brutality, with great brutality in 213 last year, and they have told me, they let me after a month go out if I eliminate my complaints with civil party, and I go out of the social réseau. I was so terrorized, so frightened. I have accepted because I was with medicamentation, horrible, very strong, you know. 3 months after I have gone out, they have begun to burn me. So they lie, they falsify the document of your past, and perhaps if I die, because my life is in danger, I can die with a false psychiatric record. It means they put shit on your past, on your present. You suffer a horrible way. And after you your death, you can pass as my father, perhaps as me, as a crazy woman. It's very, very horrible.
In English, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a very quick résumé en français
Oui.
For the basis TI?
Un résumé en français de ce que je viens de dire?
Yeah, just a little, just talking to France now.
Je voulais aussi parler des... I would want to speak about the fake.
Okay.
It's a very important point.
Okay.
All the world of the electronic torture is infiltrated by fake. We are fake here. Don't be naive. And it's normal because the subject is a subject of crime, state crime, officious crime, horrible crime, cynic crime, because they torture and they make you pass for crazy and more. We cannot imagine more horrible. So, necessary infiltration by fake. It means for the victim who work in network, criminal network, in fact, to help the authority. And they give false information. They put picture with scare burns who are not true. They are not scare burns. I am burned very hard way, no trace. Peter, I write about the people cooker. The horror of the people cooker. It's the name of this torture. You are cooking horrible way. The lungs, the throat, the head, and you can have a cancer. That's what I am afraid to have a very quickly a cancer because I have infection and the infection doesn't go away because they burn over tissue yet undamaged. You understand? Yet burn. They do to destroy you, to kill you. If you have no scares, if you have no implants, you will pass for a crazy woman. And in fact, you are the true victim. You understand? So that's very grave. You know what they want to do? They want to control all the victims, the true victim, and they want to control the speech, the information about the subject of the torture electronic, but to distort the information with false information. They want the people, the opinion public, believe we can protect. It's wrong. I have tried many kind of protection and nothing works. So now I can do the resume in French if you want.
Okay.
I am in danger of my life. And if I am still in life today, it's because I have my blog with all the documents, because I'm in contact with Peter, because I do articles, because I say, please, look what is happening. I know it will be a little curious, I die suddenly. So they do all the words they can do to me, to intimidate, to make me shut up. They torture, they prevent of sleep. Since 11 years, but now since 1 year more, the burning. And I'm afraid for my life. You want?
Yeah, it is to ask French TIs to come together, to explain to them this is technology.
Oui, je pense, je suis une victime de la torture électronique et du gang stalking institutionnel. Je suis Béatrice Elbez. Dans mon cas, et mon affaire l'illustre magistralement, c'est une affaire politique, c'est pour raisons politiques, liées à mes positions antisionistes. Mon affaire prouve, puisqu'il y a des tas de plaintes avec partie civile, des documents, des attestations sur ma bonne santé mentale, des preuves de harcèlement au domicile, mon affaire prouve le gang stalking institutionnel, c'est-à-dire couvert par les autorités. Dans mon cas, et dès le début, puisque mon affaire a commencé en 2002, c'est par Nicolas Sarkozy, qui était déjà ministre de l'Intérieur, et ensuite président du Conseil général des Hauts-de-Seine. So, moi, je dis aux gens, vous qui êtes victimes, parce que c'est un meurtre programmé, ni plus ni moins, vous qui êtes victimes de gang stalking et de torture électronique est quelque chose d'horrible, puisqu'on m'a interné arbitrairement. J'ai des plaintes en cours pour contester l'internement. Donc là, les autorités sont affolées. Comment faire taire Béatrice Elbez? Eh bien, je leur dis, regroupez-vous, soyez visibles. Méfiez-vous des fakes et des fausses associations qui balancent de fausses informations pour aider les bourreaux derrière. Fiez-vous à votre intuition, essayez d'aller vers les vraies victimes. Comprenez bien que les autorités ne vont pas laisser des cicatrices de brûlure, puisqu'elles ne veulent pas laisser de traces. You understand? Comprenez bien aussi qu'il n'est pas forcément nécessaire d'avoir des implants. Parce que si beaucoup de fakes disent j'ai des implants, pourquoi ils ne les ont pas fait enlever depuis le temps? S'ils ont trouvé les radiologues pour leur trouver les implants, c'est qu'ils ont une filière médicale. Pourquoi ils n'ont pas trouvé les chirurgiens pour leur enlever les implants? Maintenant, il y a une autre tendance, c'est de dire j'étais une victime, je ne suis plus une victime. Ils inventent des anciennes victimes. C'est un mensonge. Les victimes le sont généralement pour toute leur vie. Les victimes de torture électronique. Comme c'est un crime d'État, un crime officieux d'une barbarie inouïe, en souffrance, en cynisme, puisqu'on est fait passer pour fou. Et effectivement, il n'y a qu'une solution. Les victimes doivent se rassembler, doivent exiger de la visibilité, entre elles, déjà, se méfier et dénoncer fermement tout ce qui est fake et fausses associations. Les résistants en France, pendant la guerre, dénonçaient les résistants. Même, je ne dis pas qu'il faut tuer les fakes, mais les résistants tuaient les faux résistants, parce qu'on savait qu'un faux résistant est un danger pour un vrai résistant. Gardez ça en mémoire. Les fakes sont de fausses victimes. On est dans le règne du crime, horrible. On doit être très ferme et lutter contre ça, si on veut avancer. Voilà.
Thank you. So it's good to see good people coming together for positive motives to deal with this problem. That's it from Brussels, and thanks to all. With the light fading, this is Miles in Brussels saying good night.